Welcome back to Velvet Gaming. I'm Zach.
I'm Jason.
Welcome back to Velvet Games. I'm Zach.
I'm Jason.
I'm Austin.
Just do it. Just say it.
I'm sorry.
Just say the word.
What were the words?
This is Velvet Games.
I already said that. Oh,
No,
was I
you
supposed to say the name first? Hi. Today we're going to be talking about our top 10 cards from Phyrexia All We Won. I'm Zach.
I'm Jason.
And I'm Austin.
And this is Velvet Games. So to start this off, we're going to go and we're going to talk about our runners-up, the cards that were cool but didn't quite make the cut. We're going to pass it off to you first, Jason.
Well, for my honorable mention of like the stuff that didn't make it in, I have Tainted Observer, and it's 1, a green and blue, Phyrexian bird. It's flying, toxic 1, and then whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 2 if you do proliferate, and it's a 2/3 in the air.
It's pretty good.
3 mana, 2/3 flyer with toxic 1.
Mm-hmm.
So most of the time, it's able to kind of get through and get a poison counter. And then if you have something like if you build a deck around smaller creatures coming in, and then you pay 2 whenever they come in, you're proliferating that counter.
Mm-hmm.
So not just in a limited set, but like in a commander game,
Oh, it's good.
it's solid. Yeah. Like you have the flyer, you're proliferating for 2 mana each turn potentially. Like it does a lot for for 3 mana.
For an uncommon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
My runner-up was Graz, Unstoppable Juggernaut. He's a 8 mana 7/5. Juggernauts you control attack each time out of Fable. Juggernauts you control can't be blocked by walls. Other creatures you control have base power and toughness 5/3, and are Juggernauts in addition to their other 3 creature types. The reason I kind of was like on the fence with him is he's really cool. I like him. I like his ability. I like Juggernauts. I think I've put them in a couple of my decks before. Problem is that I feel like he's more of a finisher commander. Like if he were to be your commander, or if he was just a card in the deck, right? You really would want to wait till the right moment to play him. You couldn't just put him out early game, like command cost or cost of his mana aside,
Right.
because then everything you control would just be attacking. You wouldn't be able to really set up.
Right.
But I mean, if you have a field of like 1/1 tokens, 2/2 tokens already on the field, you drop him in. I mean, the benefit's there.
Yeah. He works really well on token strategies. I keep on bringing up tokens. It's gonna happen so many times during this episode. You have no idea.
Oh, we know.
Oh, we know.
Oh, we know.
No, you have no idea.
Oh, we know.
One thing I like with Graz too is like those giveaway decks where you like Drew and stuff.
Right.
And you turn all their creatures into Juggernauts, and then you
Interesting.
all you have to do is 3 damage at that point to kill all their creatures.
Right, but like
Dangerous, but I see what
yeah,
you're
that'd be
saying.
pretty dangerous.
It is dangerous, but it's also like you can also turn that to your advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you have a ghostly prison, they're not going to pay 10 mana to try and swing all out at you.
Well, yeah, I mean, that is interesting because if they have a ghostly prison, they could just choose not to attack because at that if you had other opponents,
right,
you can just choose with
with
that you don't have to attack unless you have to pay the 2.
Yeah, when it comes down to a 1-on-1, then it just eliminates the attack aspect of
right.
it. But you still put them into a bad spot, I think.
Right. Yeah. My runner-up is Vishgraz, the Doom Hive.
Fish grabs.
Fish grabs the Doom Hib. He's a 5 mana 3/3. He's a legendary Phyrexian insect. He has Medicine Toxic 1. When Fish Grab the Doom Bib enters the battlefield, create 3 1/1 Phyrexian Might artifact creature tokens with Toxic 1, and this creature can't block. So there you go. There's the first time I'm talking about tokens, obviously. And then Fish Grabs gets +1 for each poison counter your opponents have.
Ooh.
So
like in a multiplayer format that stacks, right?
Correct. So if everyone has 7 counters, he gets +21 +21.
Wow.
Mind you, if he hits you, if he's your commander, he's probably going to kill you. But like you're only getting 1. He only has Toxic 1. The reason why he didn't make the list, I do love him, and I'm definitely going to build the deck. I just out of the other cards in the set, I felt myself going towards those other ones more, and like I'm definitely Fish Grabs is definitely meant for more of a very specific niche. You can put him in other stuff, but it's not really going to do that well.
Yeah.
So like every other card that I have actually has some sort of use in a few other things at least.
And he comes in the precon, right?
He does. Yeah, he is the secondary commander in the Abzan precon deck.
Solid. Yeah, I think and like cards like that being put into a precon too help like precons.
Oh, for sure.
Like run as soon as they do. Well, getting into the top 10, my number 10 is Bladehold War Whip. I always like equipments, so this is a 1 red and a white for an artifact equipment. It has 4 Mirrodin, so you get the creature too. So you're getting a 2/2 for 3 mana. And then equip abilities you activate of other equipments cost 1 less to activate, and the equipped creature has double strike.
That is really good.
Right?
That is really good.
You immediately get a 2/2 with double strike for 3 mana, and all of your other equipments cost 1 less. So like your swords, your Loxodon and Warhammers, everything. And like my favorite to go to is like Blackblade Reforged. So now it only costs like 2 mana to equip to a legendary, and hopefully you're like, my idea with this is like you're putting a Voltron deck kind of together.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And then you can Voltron that little 2/2 as well and make it strong kind of thing. So that's kind of my idea with it. I really like it.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because like if you have it out, it just turns Swiftfoot Boots into a better Lightning Greaves.
Yeah.
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 No, that's actually really nice. I like that.
Yeah.
Boros equipment needs more love.
That'd do.
So my number 10 was Unctus Grand Metatect.
Unctus.
3 mana 2/4 Phyrexian Voldalkin. Other blue creatures you control have, whenever this creature becomes tapped, draw a card, then discard a card. Other artifact creatures you control get +1/+1. And you can pay a blue Phyrexian to, until end of turn, target creature you control becomes a blue artifact in addition to its other colors and types. Activate only as a sorcery. So I pretty much just like his top 2 parts for the most part. The other artifact creatures you control get +1/+1. That's really good. Thopters become 2/2s. Mirrors become 2/2s. It's very good overall. But mind you, I kind of put him towards the bottom of the list because like I find that you'd have to build a very, I think, specific type of deck around this. But the other blue creatures basically having, whenever it becomes tapped, you draw a card, discard a card. I mean, that could be attacking. That could be like utility creatures that you have. That could be, I mean, there's all sorts of different blue creatures that do that effect already, where you tap, draw a card, discard a card, and then they do that again because they have that ability. I don't know. I feel like you can make a very interesting card cycle deck. With that, or you could put them into a deck that wants that sort of option. Only issue is it's not a May, so you do got to be careful. But I mean, honestly, I feel like that could work into the strategy anyways. You can just make it to where you have things like a Lab Maniac or like maybe a what was that blue one that when it comes in, if you have like no cards in your library, you just win. Thassa's Oracle. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, other things like that. I think you can make a really nice little self-mill deck out of this, or a nice spell slinger like card selection deck out of this.
Yeah, and also triggers off of like what is it? The Teferi card that whenever you draw a card, you draw 2 instead.
Oh yeah.
So you draw 2 and discard 1. Seems pretty good. It's also something I saw someone online say. His bottom ability says it turns something into an artifact.
Right.
So it does. If someone, mind you, they're saying this for more of standard because Go for the Throat isn't standard. You could just use him to, if someone goes, yeah, I'm going to go for the throat, your creature. It's like, okay, cool. I'm going to pay 2 life, and you just didn't do that.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's pretty decent. Like that is
really nice.
Yeah.
Or 1 mana too, 1 blue
for
one
blue.
1 mana or 2 life.
Or 2 life if
and
you're
the thing too
feeling
is
risky.
If you're like as you're going to combat and you have the mana to spend or you have the life to spend, you could turn your artifact creatures into blue and get that card draw from them as well.
Right.
So like I think these are really cool to build around if you're building a mono blue kind of like self mill kind of aspect with it.
Right.
I think it'd be really cool. I have like the Kyrie deck that I have. You'd go really smoothly into that.
Yeah. My number 10 is Norn's Wellspring. It is a 2 mana artifact that says whenever a creature you control dies, scry 1 and put an oil counter on Norn's Wellspring. You can pay 1 and tap it to remove 2 oil counters from Norn's Wellspring and draw a card. this in general with aristocrat strategies and stuff like that works really well just from the scry. Honestly, that's the reason why I put it on here. The bottom part is just gravy. Like if you get 2 oil counters on it, you can just pay 1 to draw a card. Seems pretty decent, but like whenever obviously I play token decks. I'm gonna keep bringing that up. I know. But with all these tokens dying, it just says whenever something dies. So even when your tokens die, you just scry 1.
So you still get the benefit of all
right.
that.
So like it's pretty good. Also with Teysa and also with the new guy. What was his name? We just talked about him.
The new Dominus. Yeah.
Yeah, the new the Black Dominus. He would double that. So whenever something dies, you just scry 1 twice. So I think it's pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah, Drivnot. Drivnot is the Dominus.
Yep.
Yeah, that guy.
That's cool. Death triggers like a super huge thing in Commander. So being able to double that and then like get a benefit with the Wellspring from it. So I mean, and yeah, you have to put the oil counter, and that's another thing. Instead of just things dying, you could proliferate.
You could.
So just oil counter, get a proliferate, put another oil counter, and you just keep doing that. So like Atraxa and stuff like that, super solid. Talking about proliferate, my number 9 is Scheming Aspirant. So it's an uncommon. I like to find little cards that people kind of overlook, and I really highlight those. But it says it's 1 in the black, so really cheap to put out there. When you proliferate, each opponent loses 2 life, and you gain 2 life. And it's a Phyrexian Advisor. It's a 1/3, so it's able to stick out there on turn 2. Like people aren't going to be able to just murder it with a creature right away most of the time.
Yeah, usually.
And it sets you up for like proliferating, and this set has so much proliferating.
Yeah.
And so you're draining and gaining on proliferates, not to mention what other triggers you're getting. Like even if you're just doing +1/+1 counters and you're proliferating them, all your creatures are getting bigger too. So it's like this is just adding to being proliferating. So that's the way I see it.
It's really good.
Very solid.
Yeah, like especially if you have any sort of engine that just proliferates multiple times. It doesn't have the clause that only activate once per turn or whatever.
Right. So it's like just every single time you do it.
Yeah.
And it's each opponent.
With that new Dominus Techathal.
Yeah.
You proliferate twice.
Yeah.
So then you proliferate. So they're losing 4 and you're gaining 4 each time.
Yeah, you're technically dealing what at that point you'd be dealing 12 and gaining 4, but like
Yeah.
Exactly.
In the grand scheme of things, anyway.
My number 9 is All Will Be One. 5 mana enchantment. Whenever you put 1 or more counters on a permanent or player, All Will Be One deals that much damage to target opponent creature and opponent controls, or planeswalker and opponent controls. I think it's pretty self-explanatory why this is why this is a good card. It doesn't matter what deck you put this in. You put this in a +1/+1 counter deck. You put this in a in like a sort of Ikoria themed counters deck where you're putting those sort of counters like the double strike.
Right.
Yeah.
You put this in a planeswalker deck or loyalty counters, experience counters. I mean, you put this in virtually any sort of deck that has any sort of counter, you're just getting free damage that goes to virtually any target. Planeswalker, opponent, creature.
I didn't even think about Planeswalker because you put loyalty counters on them.
You put this in a Super Friends deck and you just get free like pings.
It's just free real
Mind
estate.
you, the damage isn't a lot, but I mean, you put this in a deck with like say Hydras, where they like double their like that one Hydra that doubles counters on attack.
Yeah, Colonian Hydra. I was ready to bring that up.
You just throw all those counters on there and just hit somebody really hard.
Well, see, he's disgusting too because like it's not just him; it's all your creatures double the counters with Colonian. So you swing that guy and then you're just and I'm dealing like 40.
Yeah, and then on top of that, you again kind of keeping it within the set. You mix that with the red Dominus. You just I'm gonna put like it's fine. I'm just putting 2 1/1 counters on a creature. Take 4.
Yeah.
I mean, in a limited set, getting this out. I mean, it's with the amount of oil counters and loyalty counters and all that are in this set. I think this is very good.
And just proliferate in general, like that's
and proliferate. Proliferate works wonders with this because then you put 1 counter on a thing. Like, say you have 5 creatures with counters, you proliferate once. You're getting 10 damage.
Right.
Just from that one trigger proliferate.
Yeah, and like per I believe it says per creature too, whenever you put 1 or more counters on a permanent. So it counts per permanent too. So like
or player. Poison counters.
Yeah.
So I didn't even think about that. You hit somebody with toxic, put the counter on them, and then hit them for another 2.
Yeah. That is
and you proliferate.
Or another one, I should say.
Yeah, you proliferate, and then you can hit their stuff too.
Yeah.
So you can like if it's an end game thing that you're looking at, if they have counters on their stuff, you could proliferate their stuff just to kill them.
This is definitely a card that you don't want to leave on the board.
No, you want to get rid of it as soon as possible. My number 9 is the Mycosynth Gardens. It is a land. It's a sphere, which is a new land type they brought into this. There's some other cards that care about the land types.
Right.
Honestly, I don't see many of them really mattering too much. They might. Maybe I'm just underestimating them. But this one taps for a colorless. You can pay 1 to tap it to add one mana of any color. So that's already mana filtering.
Yeah.
And then you can pay X and tap it, and Mycosynth Gardens becomes a copy of target non-token artifact you control with mana value X. So this alone is just basically a Phyrexian Metamorph on a land, depending on how you play it. Like you could just be that guy who just goes like, okay, turn 1, I'm going to drop a mana crypt, and then I'm going to play this and then tap it. Now I have 2 mana crypts, and I'm going to proceed to take 6 damage for every turn after that because like you're going to suck at flipping. But
to be fair, you have
4 mana on turn 1. Sure, it's colorless. Doesn't matter.
Turn 2, you play another land.
Yeah,
you're 5 mana. You are higher than everybody else.
Yeah, you can do it with a soul ring. You can do it. There are so many things in the commander format, since it's a singleton format, that you can. This being a land of all things, you could easily just slot this into many decks.
I'm curious. It says any non-token artifact you control.
Has to be a non-token that you control. So it can't be like there's obviously I believe a Phyrexian Metamorph copies any, but. This is just
in a commander format, you drop the Blightsteel, you're late enough in the game, next turn you have another Blightsteel.
Yeah. And you have that you have to pay that mana for it, but
but for the benefit that you're getting out of it, I mean,
you know what comes to my mind though is like the 1 turn steal something. So you like steal something until end of turn.
Right.
And then you copy that artifact.
And then you have your own.
Right. And then that goes back and they're like, cool, well, I'll see your Blightsteel Colossus and I'll raise you my Blightsteel Colossus.
Yeah.
So like you can even the playing field, you can get ahead.
Yeah.
One thing that I saw somebody do is like, great, now 2 Nevin Rawls disc.
And
I was like, why on earth would you do that? And I realized
it really wouldn't be a benefit.
That wouldn't do anything.
There's a way that there's like a way that you can make the land indestructible beforehand. And then you copy it, and then
oh,
I see. It's a little convoluted, but yeah,
it is. But that's disgusting because you
silly.
just wouldn't get rid of the Nevin Rolls disc.
Yeah,
because it doesn't
always be.
You don't have to sacrifice it. It's supposed to blow itself up.
Right.
So,
yeah,
it's interesting.
Yeah,
and then you blink, and you could blink it later on in games. Like if you blink target artifacts and stuff, and then it just goes back to being Mycosynth Gardens.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, it's
and you
silly.
can just keep doing it again and again. That's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
It's a really good card. I like it a lot. For my number 8 is Blade of Shared Souls. Another equipment. I really like them. But this is a blue one. We don't see a whole lot of blue equipments. So it's 2 in a blue, artifact equipment, 4 Mirrodin. So again, you're getting the 2/2 for 3 mana. And then whenever Blade of Shared Souls becomes attached to a creature, for as long as Blade of Shared Souls is attached to a creature, that creature, I don't know why I can't read, attached to it, you may have that creature become a copy of another target creature you control. So plus and benefit, there's like a pros and cons, right? You have to control the other creature,
right?
But this is perfect late game. Like perfect late game.
I mean, with it being a 3-drop, it's also pretty good early game because you can really get some like double up on utility creatures.
Right. And like in I think it would be really cool standard wise, like having, let's say that right now like Fable the Mirror Breaker is a 3-drop that you throw down and you make the little goblin that makes you treasures.
Right.
Well, then next turn for 3 you drop this and now you have 2 of those little goblins, and then you just keep kind of like building on that. I mean, and you can do a lot.
That actually is a really strong card because it's only equipped 2. So it's like as you equip to a different creature, you can choose a new target.
Right.
So you can choose a new thing that you copied.
Yeah.
And then like we always go back to Commander because that's what we play most. But I mean, you can choose some really gnarly stuff. Like,
right.
You could definitely make it a very interesting. You'd have to pick a non-legendary, obviously, but I mean, you can make it a copy of, goodness knows, a lot of different really useful utility creatures.
This may be convoluted, but like you could just like, let's say you have a hexproof creature and your commander's out, like at the end of the turn, like before the turn ends, you can be like, I'm going to pay 2 and have my commander change into the thing with hexproof, and then it goes around the table. Okay, I'm going to move it. Now I have my commander back. Like, because when you move it, like it stops being that creature. So like that whole turn rotation, it would at least have hexproof, so they can't just take it down.
True.
It's a little convoluted, but I mean for 2 mana.
My one thought.
That's pretty good. Actually.
My number 9 card being Scheming Aspirate, right? And then making a copy. So now you're hitting them twice each time you proliferate. And if you can proliferate more and more, you're hitting them.
So it really adds up.
That was one aspect I thought of. And there's tons of little pingers Thermo Alchemist, Kessage Flame Breather, any like damage consistent, you just copy that and now you're doing twice as much.
In blue too, I mean there's a lot of really cool stuff like Goblin Electromancer. Just hey, now my instants and sorceries cost 2 less. Or,
Yeah, same thing with the artifact guys who like.
Anything like.
Trying to think of anything that actually does it, but stuff that reduces cost for artifacts.
Right.
It's good.
Huh, very good card.
Or if you have Mirror Box.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. Just to like Mirror Box with the legendary rule not caring anymore. Again, it's a little bit of a loophole to go through because you have to have Mirror Box. But you get Mirror Box, and now you have 2 legendaries or something, and you're ready to go. And they get +1/+1 for each card that has a name, so they're building off of each other. So, I don't know. That's definitely going to my Kyrie. So,
my number 8 is Awaken the Sleeper. It's a 4-mana sorcery. Gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature. It gains haste until end of turn. If it's equipped, you may destroy all equipment attached to that creature. So, you had asked me... previously about this card and why I put it on the list, and I like the thievery sort of like type cards. I love act of treason and such like that. This kind of really mostly goes in certain decks, I feel. My Queen Marquesa of the Black Rose, for example, would love this, but I think the reason I really am drawn to this card is because of that destroys equipment part, because you have a person playing Voltron such as yourself, or say when Nick has Pneumot out, right, you just go, okay, I'm gonna take your Pneumot, I'm gonna swing him over this side, and you think I'm gonna swing him with all the equipment. No, I'm gonna destroy the equipment so that you no longer have access to any of those. Swing my Pneumot, you can have Pneumot back, but now you don't have all the swords or
anything else that does that.
It's a really nice way to break down a Voltron deck.
Yeah, for sure.
So I definitely like that.
I just think one aspect of it is a sorcery,
right?
So that always kind of turns me off. I like a lot of instants and sorceries too. So just the mechanic of okay, I have to do this on my turn, and this is most of the time it's all you can do on your turn is take their stuff, and it could win you the game. I've seen it multiple times win people games. I don't know. Me personally, I think 4 mana to steal your stuff, maybe destroy some equipment, because not everybody's always going to have equipment. So sometimes it feels like a dead card, or dead part of the card, I should say. Real quick, before we go to Austin's next card, I just thought something crazy with Blade of Shared Souls.
What's that?
Legendary death triggers. So you have it comes in, it makes the 2/2. Then that 2/2 becomes a copy of anything you control.
Right.
So if your commander says as a die trigger, you copy your commander. That rebel dies as your commander, and then you get the death trigger, and then you just keep doing that with little things and making your commander's effects go off. All the spirit dragons.
You'd have to play red. I don't think you. Well, you'd have to play a red, green, blue deck, but run that with a Omnath Locus of Rage.
Yeah.
You get the equipment, make him a copy of the Locus of Rage, dies, paying something for 3 damage.
Well, it'd be 6 at that point because he would be dying too.
You're right.
So
I mean,
or he'd be not he would be dying. Of course, he'd be dying, but he would count himself too.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is that the equipment part of it is still a May.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is great for even just taking your creature and swinging it back at them.
Right.
So again, in a Marquesa of the Black Rose deck, where you're trying to take people's stuff, swing, give it the counter, have it die, and then come back to your field, controlled by you. Stuff like this suits that perfectly.
It's definitely useful.
Yeah. It's also a lot of people just don't. A lot of people undervalue that kind of stuff, and whenever you do you do play that in a commander game? Because personally, I don't see it too often. Like you just take their thing and they're like, oh wait, I didn't
plan for that.
Yeah.
Well, or even in like talking about bringing it back to limited into like a pre-release or standard or something like that. I mean, granted, I feel like it's a little less common to see people put all their eggs in one basket and pump up one creature in particular. But when people drop that bomb, that one creature that's going to win them the game, and you just go, cool, thank you, it's mine now. I'm hitting you with it.
Yeah.
It definitely can change things.
I know it's rough. My number 8 is the Venerated Rot Priest. He is a 1 green for a 1/2 Phyrexian Druid with Toxic 1. And whenever a creature you control becomes the target of a spell, target opponent gets a poison counter.
So good.
This thing is ridiculous.
Yes, he is.
This thing is... I have a Blanca commander deck that is all about all pump spells, everything just targeting him. And it just says whenever creature you can control becomes the target. The spell doesn't even have to go off. Like, as soon as it is targeted, the effect goes on the stack. So if you grape shot, like if you do a storm spell and
gosh.
if you're able to, mind you, this is if you're able to storm off that hard.
Right.
But like if you're able to grape shot your Blanca, which I've been able to copy like at least 30 times, like in the deck, someone's just dead.
Or like my Calamax deck.
Yeah.
I built it as a Voltron deck, so it's like pump spell into Calamax, double it.
Yep.
Trigger. Ooh.
Yeah, it's also not on cast too, so it's just the target.
Yeah, it's wow.
Zada, you just go wide.
Zada's disgusting.
Goodness.
Zada is absolutely disgusting with it.
Yeah, that's silly. That's so good.
You might just insta kill somebody.
You could.
In that, that's insane.
It doesn't say spells you control, right?
Whenever a creature you control becomes the target, so if anyone tries to kill your stuff too, they just get a poison counter.
It's a nice protection for your deck too, because like kill spell. Obviously, even if they're targeting Venerated Rot Priest himself, it's like okay. That's fine. Have a poison counter.
Yeah.
And if you give him hexproof, then it's like, yeah.
Yeah. Somebody played Hive Mind in a game I was playing last week, where Hive Mind everybody gets a copy of the instant sorcery.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
So I was playing Targnar, and so I was like, hey, let's kill somebody. Everybody target Targnar with your copies. So we did. But imagine that with Rot Priest.
With Rot Priest, yeah.
Hey, we want to kill somebody. Everybody target Rot Priest. Done.
Yeah.
So that with Hive Mind, and if you can politic your way around the table,
getting people to do that would be tricky.
Yeah.
But if you're in like a game where it's like it's you three against that person and he's winning.
Yeah.
And you guys are just like, guys, I got a plan.
Yeah.
Target my own creature with a kill spell. It's like what? It's
yeah.
Like, hold on, trust me.
Well, and to set the stage, one guy had Smothering Tithe and 38 treasure tokens.
Oh, well, there you go.
We killed that guy.
That'll do it.
Treasure tokens will get a target on you.
Yeah, you will. Same with Infect, but
well, definitely, yes. So yeah, my number 7, I could count sometimes, is Prologue to Phyresis. It's a 1 in a blue instant that says each opponent gets a poison counter. Draw a card.
Right.
Instant speed, everybody gets a poison counter.
Well, you don't, but yes.
Everybody,
each opponent, yeah.
Each opponent gets a poison counter, and you draw a card.
That is such a good card. Because, like, mind you, usually for a draw card spell, it's like 2-3 mana just to draw one card.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, not only are we making this a 2-drop draw card, but hey, everybody get poison.
Yeah.
Like,
this could just win games at certain points.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Oh, definitely.
Or set you up on the process, too, because then you can start proliferating and start...
I'm putting this in anything with the proliferate. I'm putting this in my Atraxa deck. Like, anything that says add that counter, whatever it may be, done deal. And then if you could copy spells, like I'm going to build a standard deck around this thought of like, cool, I'll just cast instants of sorceries that will let me proliferate, let me draw this, like have 4 of this, let me copy spells. So if you copy it, now everybody's getting 2 poison counters and you're drawing 2 cards. And you just keep going.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
a really good one. My 7 is Conduit of Worlds. 4 mana artifact. You may play lands from your graveyard. You may tap to choose target non-land permanent card in your graveyard. If you haven't cast a spell this turn, you may cast that card. If you do, you can't cast additional spells this turn. Activate only as a sorcery. Playing lands from graveyard is just a great mechanic.
Crucible Worlds.
Crucible Worlds. Like, just being able to, like, Because like sometimes you're in situations where it's like you have to discard a card, and you don't really want to discard the gas that you have in your hands. So you're like, pitch the land. Being able to bring that back and say, like, you know, especially like when you get into the late game where you really aren't drawing into many land drops, it's like, cool, bring those back from the grave, put those back, trigger landfall triggers, blah, blah, blah. The bottom effect, though.
Yeah.
Just, mind you, you're locked into only casting one thing from your graveyard, but if it's
needed, though.
If it's really needed, I mean, it's pretty good. You can just drop in, like, say, for the sake of argument, you have a Crater Hoof Behemoth.
Yeah.
Right.
You drop that in. Somehow that didn't win you the game. Your opponent took Phyrexia protection, and the next turn they just kill spelled your Crater Hoof. Cool. Bring it back.
We're just
gonna do it again. Let's try this time. You know, I think it's nice. I mean, obviously there's all sorts of other different things you could do with this. You can recur things that maybe don't have a lot of recursion spells for them.
Right.
But I think it's
just having the fact that it's just a green Crucible of Worlds with the ability to cast something from your graveyard is so good. It gives you just the option alone is just perfect.
It gives you that many more options
right
in your deck.
It also like goes in any like self-mill deck.
Oh,
yeah.
Soul Tie, self-mill, easy money. You put your win con in your graveyard and you win.
Yeah.
And that's it. And you just tap it.
The one thing is you do have to be careful. It does say non-land permanent.
Yeah.
So you do have to make sure you're not tossing your instants and sorceries willy-nilly.
Yeah, your needed stuff. Yeah.
Right, but if you like, and just to like, I guess spike it up a little bit, you mill your whole deck, you put Thassa's Oracle in there, you cast Thassa's Oracle, you win.
Yeah.
And like that's, I mean, because when you mill yourself out, you only lose when you have to draw. So if you mill yourself out, you don't have to worry about drawing a card. You just tap the conduit, win.
Real quick, put the live mini out. Let's go.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Yeah. My number 7 is Malkator, Purity Overseer. He is a 3 mana. He's a blue and a white. He's a 1/1 for a Phyrexian Elephant Wizard.
He's the best.
Fantastic type. When Malkator, Purity Overseer enters the battlefield, create a 3/3 colorless Phyrexian Golem artifact creature token. So 3 mana for 4 power is pretty good. I do like that because you get 2 creatures. And then at the beginning of your end step, if 3 or more artifacts entered the battlefield under your control this turn, create a 3/3 colorless Phyrexian Golem artifact creature token. So same thing. So obviously you're blinking this guy a lot.
Yeah.
You're just flickering him. You're making a whole bunch of 3/3s and stuff. But like on top of that, you're running stuff like Thopter Spy Network. So you're getting 1/1s every at the beginning of your turns. You're making treasure tokens. You're making clue tokens. You're making food tokens. You're playing Academy Manufactor.
Yeah.
Like you're just making this deck is all about just making a bunch of artifacts, which is great.
You run a mechanized production and use that as your win con, just reading the 3/3 golems.
Yeah.
Shark Typhoon.
Yeah. You can use Conjurer's Closet and
Teleportation Circle.
Teleportation Circle. Yeah, you could use those. His ability does say at the beginning of your end step, so like his trigger would go before the other one, I believe. I don't actually know, but regardless,
stack it.
Huh?
You could stack it.
I think so. But like you could still flicker him. You're still getting one when you cast him and one at the end of the turn. Yeah. So like he's pretty good. I just like him because tokens. But anyway,
it does make tokens.
That seems like an itch.
So my number 6 is something we already talked about is Mycosynth Gardens.
Yeah.
I put it a little bit higher on my list simply because of the utility you can flip it to be.
Yeah.
And a lot of combo aspects with it. So I just like the aspect of like, okay, this is a land like that's super good and it could be an artifact. And so like I love the utility lands, like the man lands that we had on Adventures of Forgotten Realms. I love those, but this one really turning like saying, oh, now I have 2 soul rings, now I have 2 commander spheres, now I have 2 of whatever, and it's any artifact that's a non-token. So like you really can make something crazy with it, and I just love that.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. My number 6 is Ichor Moon Gauntlet, a 3 mana artifact. Planeswalkers you control have 0 to proliferate and -12 to take an extra turn after this one. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, choose a counter on target permanent. Put an additional counter of that kind on that permanent. This is just insane. I mean, honestly, I probably should have put it higher, but this list is more of a subjective, kind of like what I like, not really what's the
not power
strongest.
level. Yeah.
Right. But this card is strong.
Yeah, it is ridiculous.
The immediate thought is you just put this in a Super Friends deck.
Sure.
With like several planeswalkers out on the field, drop this, proliferate. Just like have each planeswalker basically bump up one other planeswalker's loyalty, the one that probably has the highest, and then just -12, take an extra turn after this one.
Yeah.
Do it again. All the while, you're casting down creature spells, putting more counters on them. I mean, essentially, unless your opponent has something they can do, if you have this out in the right situation, you just control the game.
Yeah.
You just continuously proliferate, take extra turns.
Yeah, you have to have enough planeswalkers and everything.
Right.
For sure.
I like it a lot. The only reason I liked it when I first saw it, and it was one of my cards, I was like, whoa, this is awesome. The reason it didn't make my list personally is that one, it doesn't actually proliferate, it just chooses something and it pumps it up one. And then it makes the planeswalkers proliferate, which is good, but I find myself building a lot more decks unless I'm building a Super Friends deck specifically, I'm not focusing so much on planeswalkers being really heavy in most of my decks.
Right.
So it's cool, and it really helps like a planeswalker deck just like hit hard, which they already do.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then like the -12, take an extra turn, it's like, oh, you guys like Teferi? Now everything's a Teferi. Like,
well, yeah. Well, and I was talking to him about it earlier too. You could also just put it in a deck where you have like a Ralzeric.
Yeah.
And then minus Ralzeric's alt, take potentially 5 extra turns. 1 to 5. Depending on.
Yeah.
And then you don't even have to worry about the -12.
Right.
You just take extra turns, bump everybody up, and then just alt every single planeswalker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you don't win by that point, you're doing something wrong.
Right.
Like, that deck is not good if you can't make something out of that.
Right. And I have a Guile deck. It's the Jeskai Guile, the Street Fighter one. And the deck is all about proliferating. It's all about adding charge counters to him. It's all about adding indestructible counters to other things. And that is just so good in that, because like I'm always trying to put charge counters on him. So the fact I can just be like, I'm gonna Swords of Plowshare your thing and put another charge counter on him, and like,
that's insane actually.
It is really good. I'm excited for it.
Even without planeswalkers, that's a pretty decent card.
The bottom part is just good enough.
Yeah.
So my number 6 is Skrelv's Hive. It is a 2-mana enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose a life, and you create a 1/1 colorless Phyrexian Might artifact creature token with Toxic 1, and it can't block. It has Corrupted. As long as an opponent has 3 or more poison counters, creatures you control with Toxic have lifelink. That bottom part, I don't care about. The top part, it's literally just the Wish variant of a Bitter Blossom.
Yeah,
it is
the Wish.
It is the Bitter Blossom that your mom said that you have at home, right. Which is totally fine. Like, I am all over this. Like, I
brand,
little Skrelv over there, those little babies, or maybe it's a she. I actually don't know. Skrelv is them, but
they them.
Whatever works. I actually don't know. I haven't read the story if there is any.
But what's crazy about that? You disregard the bottom part.
Oh, it's good. No, it's still good.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but in like a standard or a pre-release format, when you are creating a bunch of mites with Toxic, oh man, like cool. Everything I have just has lifelink.
Yeah,
that is a great. That's a great.
Does
add-on.
everything I want to do in Magic. Just make little buddies.
Make little tokens.
Make little buddies. Well, get into number 5.
Mm-hmm.
I dissed a sorcery earlier, but I gotta make sure this is well known. I love instants and sorceries, especially when they're good. Yeah. Me.
Impossible.
But my number 5 is Distorted Curiosity. It's 2 and a blue. It's a sorcery. It has Corrupted. This spell costs 2 less if an opponent. 2 less to cast if an opponent has 3 or more poison counters, and then it says draw 2 cards. So, first of all, in any one of my decks, that's only going to cost me 1 blue, like from the get-go. I don't care if you have poison counters or not. You have tons of things that reduce the cost.
With Vadric or with anything that just reduces cost, right?
So it's only going to cost 1 blue to draw 2 cards.
Which is very close to Ancestral Recall.
Right, and I think that's one.
It's one you draw. One blue you draw 3. Yeah,
right, but like I said in my earlier instant and sorcery, like I'm building this in my little standard deck that I'm working on for this new set, because this with
with that other card.
Yeah, with the other card.
When you actually put the poison counter on them and draw a card.
Right. So you have Galvanic Iteration in standard right now, which copies. You have I think there's like one other thing that copies spells in standard right now, but you copy the spells. You sling this. You just keep doing that. You put like a Jace or something to kind of protect you and get your control of the board pretty much.
Right.
And then you put poison counters and you're copying. And now since they have poison counters, you're just paying a blue, drawing 2 cards. And since you're drawing 2 cards, you're getting more stuff with proliferate and so on and so forth. So you're just like, cool, I'm just gonna win the game.
It's really good card selection. I really like it.
Yeah.
It's a really nice card. Even if you can't reduce the cost of it, 3 mana for drawing 2 cards is usually better than what you get with most draw spells.
Right.
My number 5 is a great meme card.
It's a beast.
Oh, my goodness. Probably one of the strong, in my opinion, one of the strongest cards in the set. Phyrexian Vindicator. He's 4 white, 5/5, flyer. If damage would be dealt to him, prevent that damage. When damage is prevented this way, it deals that much damage to any other target. Now, in a pre-release standard sort of format, simply just like swinging him at somebody, threatening them with the 5 damage. If they block it, you still do something because you deal whatever they managed to block with. That's great. Using him as a blocker, people are not going to want to swing into that because they're just going to hit themselves in the face. Right. That's all great. You put this in Commander and it becomes stupid. I remember when we first saw this card, we started talking about you slap a pariah on this bad boy.
Gosh.
They can't hit you. They'll literally just hit themselves.
Yeah.
They can't non-combat damage you. They can't do anything. But I just think it's a really nice card. Altogether, very strong. Protects you from all sorts of damage.
For sure.
Once you have it out and you have another piece out in Commander, it gets pretty gross.
Yeah.
And what was it? There was a combo we had talked about where this
it was with Pariah. So you put Pariah on it, and
yeah.
then you can burn yourself.
You just retarget yourself.
Yeah.
Off of this.
Yeah.
And
So
then the Pariah forces it back into Phyrexian Vindicator, and then you just target yourself again. You could infinite loop the damage to get it high enough.
you need a damage duplicator though.
Oh yeah. You do need a damage.
You need
duplicator.
like the red Sulphus or whatever his name is.
The red Dominus. You just double the damage each time.
Each time it gets bigger, and then whenever you feel like shooting it out, you just shoot it out.
Somebody.
You know, it'd also be dumb. Copies of that on your board.
Yeah.
Get 2 or 3 of them, and then Blasphemous Act.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Blasphemous Act is really good with it.
And then
because then
everybody gets 13.
Yeah, because not only if people survive that, these creatures still live. So then you're the only one with creatures on the field.
Yeah.
Right.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. I might actually build something with that now.
Yeah. He is
very strong.
Yes. My number 5 is Skyhunter Strike Force. It is a 3 mana 2/2. He's mono white. A cat knight. He's flying in melee. I just closed that, so that's cool.
Way to go.
I know. Phones.
He's a professional.
So as lieutenant, as long as you control your commander, other creatures you control have melee. Melee is when a creature has melee, it gets +1/+1 for each player you are attacking. So not just with it, but with all of your creatures. So if you have, if you're in a 4-player game and you have one creature going at each person, all the creatures that have melee are getting +3/+3. This is really good for obviously token strategies. It's also good with I believe her name is Adriana, the one from the one that also gives melee, because melee does stack.
Yeah.
If you have multiple instances of melee, they do care about what you're doing.
That's gross.
So you could technically play this with Adriana and then just be like, oh, okay, so everything's getting +6/+6.
She's a legendary, so you make her the commander. You have them both out.
Yeah. So
nice.
it's just good. I'd honestly just like it as like an all out, like, all my little buddies, you go like do the thing,
Yeah. And when does melee stop? Is that at the do they get that power?
they get the buff until end of turn.
Until end of turn.
Yeah.
you just run Aurelia or any other sort of combat doubler and then just do it all
Correct.
over again.
You would get if you have multiple combats, you would get the melee triggers would keep going after
That's
each
just
combat.
insane.
Yeah.
So that is a really good card. I actually like that a lot.
Solid. I don't know. Maybe it's my token hate.
It's okay. We balance each other out because I
It's
love
okay.
tokens.
You just run what is it? The End the Bloodline or whatever that card is called.
Yeah.
Sever the Bloodline.
Yeetus Deletus. That's what
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
name all.
Yeetus Deletus.
Yes. It's a famous spell. Anyways, talking about spells, my next card, number 4, is Mercurial Spell Dancer. He is a Phyrexian, is a Phyrexian rogue. It can't be blocked. It is a 2/1 for 1 and a blue. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put an oil counter onto it. And whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may remove 2 oil counters from it. If you do, when you cast your next instant or sorcery spell, this turn, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for that copy. Are you guys seeing a theme with what I'm doing? I love to copy spells.
Not feeling it.
Imagine,
Not enough tokens.
Yeah,
Sling spells.
Well, you could make tokens with this.
exactly. You could copy the token spells to make more tokens. But
See,
you
now he's
put,
on board.
See, now I'm on board. Yeah,
Exactly.
you got me.
You copy the token spells, Captain's Call, you make 4 1/1 soldiers or whatever, and now you make 8 1/1 soldiers. And then you keep making soldiers, or you keep doing that. So, because it can't be blocked. And then all you have to do is proliferate once, and now it already has 2 every time. And whenever you cast a non-creature spell, it gets a counter. So if you cast 2 non-creature spells, it has 2 counters already. Then it deals combat damage, because it can't be blocked. Then you copy that. Then you keep going because you just keep going and it just keeps going.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like it a lot. I think it's my little standard deck that I'm building is going to be awesome.
It's also a rogue.
It is a rogue.
That might just matter for decks.
Yeah, it's going in my rogues deck too.
Yeah, as it should.
Yeah.
My number 4 is Red Sun's Twilight. This is probably one of the few cards I actually got incredibly excited about. It's an X, 2 red sorcery. Destroy up to X target artifacts. If X is 5 or more, for each artifact destroyed this way, create a token that's a copy of it. Those tokens gain haste. Exile them at the beginning of the next end step. This is just really good in terms of like board clear, trying to get rid of people's artifacts. You can, at the very least, you're paying 2 red and a 1 to destroy 1 artifact. But you can just pump more and more into the X spell, ramp it up. What I love about this card is you put this in Obeka.
Oh.
You just pay 7 mana.
Oh my gosh.
Pick 5 of the best artifacts on the board, delete them all, bring them over to your side as token
And
copies.
the turn.
That trigger goes on the stack and the turn. You now have 5. Like your Soul Ring, your Soul Ring, your Soul Ring, your Signet, and your also Signet. Why not?
That is
Cool. I have now 5 mana rocks I didn't have before. All I had to do was spend 7 mana. I mean, it's very strong.
You know what you could do with
It's
that?
very specific, but very strong.
You could play a Mycosynth Lattice and turn every permanent into an artifact. And
You
then
know?
have a copy of whatever you want.
You know? That's not a bad idea. That's a little convoluted, but it's not a bad idea.
Yeah. No, I mean, if it's just like this should probably go in my my art. I have a blue-red artifact deck, and it does run that already. So like this is it's just good.
And along the same lines too, let's say you don't have the 5 mana, right? It still doesn't lose its usefulness because you're still destroying targets. But if you can like top out that 5, right? And they have like a Phyrexia Metamorph that's copying something else that's not an artifact. That is still an artifact. So you just boop, and now I have 1 too. Yeah, it's silly.
It's very good.
Yeah. My number 4 is Roar of Resistance. It's a 2 mana enchantment. Creature tokens you control have haste. So you know I'm gonna hate this card. You know I hate it. Whenever 1 or more creatures attack, you may pay 2. It's a 1 and a red. If you do, creatures attacking your opponents and or planeswalkers they control get +2/+0 until end of turn. That doesn't say you. This says anyone. So if anyone's attacking your opponents, you can go, yeah, cool, I'll just pay 2. Cool, your creatures have +2/+0.
Yep.
Just cause on a 2 mana enchantment.
Yeah, that's you want to be friends?
Yeah.
That's pretty good. That's
And even when you're running that token strategy, which I'm gonna be doing,
right?
You're paying 2 mana to buff your board by 2/0.
Yeah.
And they're already like in my Jetmir deck. They're already getting +3 and double strike and all that other stuff.
If you think about it, that's actually kind of really like undercosted.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is actually really dumb.
That's what I'm saying. Like even if you're not playing for the top for creature tokens, the bottom is just like, okay, cool. On your turn, if you attack, like, okay, we really have to like gang up on someone. You attack him, pay 2. You attack him, pay 2. You attack him, pay 2. Like, you attack yourself, pay 2.
It's fire breathing. Fire breathing with a colorless.
Well, no,
yeah.
It's not just fire breathing. It's fire breathing for an entire board. I mean,
but you can only do it once. But like,
yeah,
only once.
It says whenever one more, you may pay 2. So it's a trigger.
Yeah.
Right. But what I'm saying is, so like most cards that do that sort of effect, right? Like, Inspired Charge, say in right. Like usually that's a sorcerer and instant. You have to pay like 3 or 4 for it if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And then it goes away. But this, it's just 2.
It stays.
And it stays on the field, so you can use it next time. And actually, yeah, you get multiple combats, you do it again.
Yeah, I was gonna say you could just do it again.
You put this in a Aurelia deck, you just
Yeah.
pay 2 more. Everything's now getting +4/+0 until end of turn.
Yeah.
That's
I
really,
do like it's going on my Goblin deck. It's going on my Jetmir deck.
It's very aggro deck.
It can definitely be versatile too.
And like creature tokens you control have haste. You're definitely putting that in Brain Draw.
Especially you're putting in Cranko, but you're also putting any deck that runs Cryptolith Right.
Yeah.
When your tokens come out, instant mana.
Nagila.
Yeah, Nagila.
Like just.
Bro.
Oh.
You broke Nagila.
Oh, that is the most. You have that and Cryptolith Right in Nagila. Nagila just wins.
You just
that's
just
win.
Disgusting.
Yeah, just wins. Anyway,
that's actually really good.
Yeah.
Enough of this token crap. Let's
I'm
get back
not-
to
I'm not
spells.
I'm not done with the tokens yet.
We still got 3 more to go.
Oh my. Number 3 for me is Vindictive Flamestoker. I think this is just going to be like the overall best red card for a long time. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a oil counter onto him, and then 6 in a red, sacrifice him, discard your hand, then draw 4 cards. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each oil counter on Vindictive Flamestoker. Okay. And he's a 1/2, right? So you pay him, you drop him turn 1, and he's just a little 1/2. And sure, your opponents might just like get rid of him instantly. No big deal.
I don't think they would though. Like if they have like incidental damage or something, maybe.
Right. And so every time you cast a non-creature spell, hint, I'm going to cast a lot of non-creature spells.
Right.
Then he gets more oil counters. The more oil counters you can, the easier it is to refill your hand.
Right.
So if your hand is him and 4 spells, you just made that go from 7 mana to 3 mana, like that. And then you pay 3 mana, get rid of him, draw 4 more cards, and you keep going.
It's sad that he doesn't like buff up in any way.
Well,
like,
yeah.
But I mean, like that is really, really great because in a limited format, you just cast stuff, have him get more and more oil counters, pay. I mean, at best, you're paying 1 red to get rid of them and draw 4 cards.
Right.
I mean, and if you have nothing in your hand,
you're just drawing 4 cards for 1.
And again, back to my little strategy that I'm trying to work on for standard.
It just works, yeah.
This with Proliferate and those other 2 cards.
Oh, definitely.
You're getting him big very quickly, getting a lot of counters onto him very quickly, and then you're dumping. You have no hands, and then you grab 4 more cards, and you're like, cool, let's do it again, and you just keep going. Yeah, let's just keep going.
He's very good. My number 3 is Noxious Assault. It is a 5 mana sorcery. Creatures you control get +2/+2 until end of turn. Whenever a creature blocks this turn, its controller gets a poison counter. In the right situation, this just wins you the game.
It does.
This is a finisher. Actually, I think that might be my my theme. I guess if we all have a theme, mine is just like finishers.
Yeah.
This card, you drop this right. If you have like let's say, like 10 1/1s on the field.
Yeah.
Right? They're now all 3/3s. So you're swinging 30 damage at somebody, and they can't block unless they want to get.
They can choose to block here and there, but
right. But I mean,
have trample.
Yeah, I mean, if you have other things, I mean, if it's not just like say 10 1/1s, if you switch the situation around a bit, like this just makes it to where they have to make a hard decision of, do I block and get poison counters, which could kill me that way, or do I let them hit me with damage and get me low on life, which could kill me that way? And if you play this at the right moment, it's just a win because you can connect with enough damage to kill them, or if they block, they just get enough poison counters to lose.
Yeah, it's a solid card.
It's solid.
It's really good in tokens.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
Austin finds a way to make it work for him.
We're making a limit. You say tokens one more time and you're out. Gotta find
The
another
door's
you gotta,
right
you gotta
there.
find a euphemism.
Euphemism.
What does that mean? What?
Other creature cards that aren't real.
My little buddies.
The non-regular permanents.
Yes. Yeah, my number 3 is it's a clever concealment. It is a 4-mana instant. It's an instant, crazy, right?
That's nice.
With Convoke.
I bet it does something for tokens, doesn't it?
Well, Convoke.
Not really. Well, it does.
Convoke
it
is
does.
all the tokens tapped to pay for
Any
it.
number of target non-land permanents you control phase out.
Oh, look at that. You
That's
protect
it.
all your tokens.
I can do that to all my tokens.
You know why you don't know why that's so good with tokens too? Because it doesn't exile them.
Right.
It doesn't do anything.
Right.
to, like,
It doesn't make
blink
them all
Yeah.
disappear.
So if I decide to board
that
wipe,
way.
if I feel like board wiping, and I'm just like, you know what, I'm gonna just phase my guys out,
Yeah.
and then or if someone else tries to board wipe, I can just do that. It also says non-land permanent, so even if you're not doing a token strategy or anything else like that, and someone's just like, yeah, I'm gonna Vandal Blast, and you're like, okay, cool, I'm just gonna use this and just
Yeah.
all
it's a
my
good
artifacts are
save.
good.
And what's great is the Convoke part of it, aspect of
Yeah.
that too, because it's, as I said to him, like you can just tap those creatures to pay for it. So like you could simultaneously cast the board wipe and then use your creatures to help pay for that.
Yeah.
If you're low on mana.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, what did it say again? Any number of targets?
Any number of target non-land permanent.
So
You can choose any
some
number.
things, if you wanted to let them die, you could just let them die.
You could kill someone with a venerated prop priest with this.
Yeah. Yes, you could.
Yes.
Yep. Oh,
Yeah.
you're gonna win the game? No, you're not.
No,
You're dead.
I'm winning the game.
Yeah, you're dead.
I think that works because it's
Yes.
targeting.
It targets any number of target creatures.
Right.
Yeah, target non-land
Because it
permanents.
was, yeah, I still have it here.
But it has to be a creature.
Yeah.
Whenever a creature you control becomes a target of spells.
Of a
Yeah.
spell, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And there you go.
There you go. You just
In
win.
response to you killing me, you die.
Right.
I kill you.
Talking about venerated Rob Priest, that's my number 2.
Huh.
So it works together pretty well.
See, we're on the same page.
Well, maybe.
Basically the same thing.
I'm not gonna beat a dead horse. It's a really good card. I think it's gonna work in my like Targnar deck. Anything with a Voltron that I'm just like pump. Especially in like my Zada deck. My Zada deck is gonna go stupid. I had to figure a way to make my Zada deck green now. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but again,
Oh, there's ways.
like I'm thinking about doing a Calamex deck with Zada in it. So I'm just
Oh, yeah.
copying stuff
She's
like
mine.
that. Yeah. So
I mean, I think.
yeah. So venerated Rob Priest is kind of pushing me to the edge of like I need green in my red deck. Like,
Right.
So yeah.
It's a good combination. I mean, especially when it comes to like pump spells.
Yeah.
It works.
Exactly.
My number 2, we talked about her in the preview video. Nissa, Ascended Animist. She is 7 mana, 2 of that being Phyrexia. She comes in with 7 loyalty. She's completed. She has the +1 to create the XX Horror, where it's her loyalty. She has the -1 to destroy an artifact or enchantment. And she has the -7 to give creatures you control +1/+1 for each forest you control and gain trample. Again, going along with the finishers theme, you drop her, she just wins you the game.
She just
Like,
does
in,
the
in,
work.
in a certain scenario. Like,
Yeah.
and even if you don't have her out by that point in the game, like if you don't have quite the setup, she can help get you set up by giving you big creatures that by the time you finally do alter. And then and in a commander format, the -1 is also really great because like if you're not running a deck that has a lot of like enchantment artifact removal, and like let's say you do have like a big token deck ready to swing out, you're ready to alter, you're ready to go, but you can't because somebody has a ghostly prison, you just -1 her,
Yeah. Just
pop the ghostly prison. She's
Unleash the horde.
yeah, she is a great opener.
Mhm.
Like I think this card is very, very strong.
Correct. I love it. My number 2 is Ovica Enigma Goliath. It is a 7 mana. It's a red blue for a 6/6. It's a legendary Phyrexian Nightmare. It has flying, ward 3, pay 3 life. So you have to pay 3 life and pay 3 mana just to target it. Pretty dope. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create X 1/1 red Phyrexian goblin creature tokens where X is the mana value of that spell. They gain haste until the end of turn.
That's like our baby.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you two had like a baby.
The reason why this is so high on my list, I've always loved the theme of like for example, one of my favorite commanders used to be, I don't know why I took him apart, Kaikar. I used to play the crap out of that deck because I love just being able to cast removal and make like 4 tokens off of it. Fantastic. So I'm probably going to build either Kaikar again or just do Ovica and just put basically the shell together. I probably want white though because of like the different,
oh yeah, there's plenty of benefit there.
Yeah, just the fact you can do that with like X spells too, and like you can choose how many like how big the spell is. You just be like, yeah, this X is 15 and it already had a 1 pip, so you're making 16 goblins that have haste. Pretty good.
Yeah.
And it's a 6/6.
Yeah.
And built-in protection.
You
love that
especially for something that high costed.
Yeah. Oh,
like,
absolutely. You love that in a commander. For sure.
So I love it.
That's solid. I like it. It's definitely on my mind for my own commander, building it. But I don't know. Maybe I'll just let you do it.
So what's your one? Now we're down to number ones. What's your number one, buddy?
Imaginary drum rolls. Oh.
Anyways, besides getting our AV team upset with us, my number one is the Mind Splice Apparatus. So it's a 3 and a blue artifact, flash. At the beginning of your upkeep, put an oil counter on Mind Splice Apparatus. Instants and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each oil counter on Mind Splice Apparatus. So, one really cool thing I like about most of the cards I've said is, like, going back to my number 2 and 3, it says non-creature spells. So, Vindictive Flamestoker says whenever you cast a non-creature, so that also means artifacts, which this is.
Right. Yeah.
So he gets the oil counter for bringing this in,
right.
And then your instants and sorceries cost even less, and you're just going and going and going. You just keep on going. So I really like it. I think me and Austin were talking about it. Like, this card was made for me.
Yeah, no, it literally had Jason's name right at the bottom.
Yeah, if you look at the artist,
it actually has it on there.
Weird. If you look at the artist, I didn't paint this, but I wish I could have. I also love the art for this card too. Like, it's really awesome. And it has flash, so it gets around most, like, destroy that. Like, okay, cool, I'll just wait. And then it's blue, so if you're holding just blue mana, people are terrified, and you just take advantage of it.
They wonder what you're thinking.
Exactly. Yeah. So I really love it.
No, it's great because, I mean, it's an as foretold, but with the added benefit of you can proliferate it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, actually, no, as foretold you can proliferate too. Never mind.
Yeah.
But but to be fair, for this set, it's even better because you can not only can you proliferate it, but there's also cards that put oil counters on other permanents. So it's like if you build it that way.
I'm really hoping to get this in my pre-release kit because if I do, I'm just gonna drool.
Yeah.
Some cards will make me cry. Some cards will make me drool.
It's good.
This is one of them.
My number one is one that's already appeared. My number one is actually Ovica, Enigma Goliath. It is an amazing commander. What I really look for when I look at sets, I really don't buy cards too much, unless I really feel a calling towards them. And this is one of those. If I pull this or if I find it somewhere for a reasonable price, I'm definitely snapping it up because this is something I can imagine myself building or at least putting in a deck that already exists. Like putting it in my Locust God deck. Locust God would love this.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
Because you're casting a bunch of non-creature spells, you're creating that many 1/1 little dudes with haste.
I'm gonna wheel and that.
Yeah, I'm gonna wheel and then I'm gonna wheel, so I'm gonna create a bunch of 1/1s on the ground, a bunch of 1/1s in the air. Like, it's, my goodness, I really really like this card.
Yeah.
Like, I really love the flavor of it and everything.
And we really haven't talked price at all of these cards, and that's
the set hasn't really dropped.
Yeah,
like we have ideas, but
it's 19 cents right now.
Is it?
Ooh,
yes.
Okay.
I think it's a rare in a new set.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I mean, if you want it and you like it,
I'm getting a foil
maybe you
one.
order. Oh, I didn't even look. Maybe the showcase is probably cheap too, because there's a bunch of ones. Keep talking, I'll find it.
So speaking of foils and wanting them, this actually my number one actually comes with a little bit of a story. Back when I first started in 2015 with Magic, we started in Dragons, and then I believe Modern Masters 2 came out. I believe when I first started with that, though, I was okay with Magic, and then when I was playing, I pulled an Alloy Mirror. That's the one that taps. It's a 3 mana. It's just a regular little mirror. It taps for any color. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love mirrors. Like the whole idea of mirrors are awesome. Like they're just little dudes. And then like I was just like, man, I really want a commander for mirrors. And I haven't had one. You could obviously have done it, but it just didn't. It never felt right. It never really fit. You could just like be like, oh, I'm just gonna play a 5-color or whatever.
One for it, yeah.
You could.
Yeah.
There is one.
But
now,
you never found the one.
I never found. Nothing hit my heart.
Right.
This one tickled my heart and then brushed my hair.
That's cute.
So that, why did I say that?
What a meat cute.
So anyway, this is Urtet, Remnant of Memnarch. He is a 3-mana. He's colorless with a 2/2. Whenever you cast a mirror spell, create a 1/1 colorless mirror artifact creature token. Already love it. At the beginning of your combat on your turn, untap each mirror you control. Awesome, because a lot of them produce mana and everything else.
Rocks.
And then after that, its last ability is you pay 1 of each color, meaning that its commander identity is 5-color, so you can run all the fun little dudes. You can tap it and put 3 1/1 counters on each mirror you control. Activate this only on your turn. So if you pay 5, tap it, give all your mirrors +3/+3 on counters. You go to your combat, untap it, do it again. All those 1/1s are at least 7/7s now.
Yeah.
At least. How I'm built. I'm obviously going to be playing this on the show eventually.
Yeah.
Once you get the
I got all the cards for this. I don't even care if they're good. I just care that they're mirrors. And I love. There's literally one of the mirrors. It's a 2-mana 6/6, I think, that just says you can't cast it unless you use mana produced by mirrors.
Oh wow.
It's called like a Mirror Superion or something like that. It's something whatever. But I absolutely love this. It is my as soon as I saw this card, I felt like I had a little heart attack. So I was just like, oh my gosh, this is like the card.
He found the one.
Yeah.
The meat cute.
It is the meat cute. Kind of try to flow out the whole deck, and it's going to be pringled so hard because they're all old cards.
What I've actually heard, and we can talk more about this on our other video, Tavern Talk, check it out, is that the pringling situation is slowly coming to resolve because Dominaria remasters Pringles, like there's barely any.
It's cool.
So that's hopefully good news for the Magic community, but that's our top 10s.
Yeah.
We made it through the list.
Yeah, let us know what you guys think in the comments, obviously, and if you put your top 10s down there, see you kind of want to see what you guys like.
Yeah. Let us know what you're into, and let us know what you think about our opinions. If we were all uninformed and unintelligent, and
just like we are,
we are. But yeah, have a good week.
We appreciate you for watching.
Yeah, thank you. Howdy, y'all. Thank you for watching this video today. It'd be mighty kind if you would like, comment, and subscribe to this video. And if you can even ring that bell, that'd be awesome.
And if you want to be kind and support us in doing this here endeavor, you can always hit up our Patreon, where we got plenty of rewards for you fellers. And you can also visit the Discord to hang out with us and many other mighty fine partners. Now, we got to get going, so we'll see y'all later. But y'all come back now. You hear?